Okay, so this would be P3D6, but it's not because I'm taping this on day 5. I will be leaving the house at 5 a.m. tomorrow, traveling in the car for about 5 or 6 hours to go to Bucks Lake, and there is no cell reception at the lake, so I'm not even sure about posting anything from my phone. Last year when I was there was just the phone didn't even work, so maybe I'll bring my camera, this camera that I can't seem to figure out, and obviously figure it out eventually and then post. So I wanted to review P2 and traveling. I, this past spring, ended up doing 5 weeks, almost back-to-back weekends of out-of-town traveling. And my youngest daughter plays competitive basketball, so we either would do very long days and travel back home, or we actually would stay in a hotel. So you really have to plan carefully. You have to make sure that you have available options to fuel yourself. So a couple things. Plan every meal for every day, no matter what, so that those meals are there. The snack bar doesn't offer P2 friendly food, period. Even just the smell of it, just stay away from the snack bar. Go out to the car. Restaurants are really hard to navigate, especially when it's late and you're hungry and everyone's on edge and you're in between games and you have 5 minutes. So that was just my experience traveling. Otherwise, you may not have that time constraint. But another thing I did, I carried a large purse so that I could bring my stuff with me without anyone questioning the extra water bottle or snacks that were in my purse. No one really went through my purse. And then I carried a small vial of HCG. I did sublingual drops and always made sure that I had this tiny little vial available to me so that I was never at a point where I couldn't take my HCG. I kept a cooler in the car filled with P2 friendly choices, and made sure that it was always there so that if I needed it, it was available. And then I packed all my water for the trip every day. All the water, because at one tournament I was at, I ended up paying $4 for this tiny little bottle of water just because I needed water. And it's just easier to know that the water's there if you can't find any available, or refill for that matter. Some places have awful water. And then look at the timing of your day, pushing water intake where appropriate. When you're in the car traveling, it's kind of hard to be drinking half a gallon of water and asking to pull over every 15 minutes to go to the bathroom. So you really have to seize the opportunity and drink the water when you can, when you know there's going to be a bathroom available. If you're staying in a hotel, ask for a fridge in your room. They can bring them in for $10. They'll wheel one in sometimes, or bring your own fridge on wheels. I would bring a cooler and just roll it right through the lobby and into my room just to make it work. And then some of the food that we brought, I always had a thermos, my own coffee thermos, for either tea, hot water with apple cider vinegar or coffee. My pre-filled water bottles ready to roll, and apples because they don't go bad. You know, if you need to cut them, bring a knife, and otherwise their apples always there. I also did the same thing with grapefruit. I could cut a grapefruit in half, and if it wasn't sweet, I added stevia and just put the other half in a little container and threw it in my cooler. So that was a nice option. Strawberries go bad really quick, so yeah, or they may not be in season depending on when you're doing your round. And then 2 prepared salads for every day that you're gone. So I would slice all the lettuce up, throw in a mop. No police here. No protocol police. I followed my own protocol mop, not perfect on protocol. And so I did mix my vegetables. I would throw in a handful of grape tomatoes because the lettuce didn't go bad with those. And then I also added a handful, half a cup or whatever of cucumbers to that. And so that my salad was always prepared in a little Tupperware container. And then depending on what the trip looked like, frozen chicken or steak in a little Ziploc baggie, and I would travel with them frozen, and then they would be good to go by the time we got to wherever we were, or I'd toss them in the microwave depending on where we were. And then sometimes I would have P2 friendly dressing mixed in with that, so it was already dressed and all I had to do was dump the protein. Or I would have it separate. I did salsa a lot, salsa and chicken, and then would just mix that together, salsa and the chicken, and be careful of the sugar in salsa. Take a look at your salsa. I liked Herdez, but you have to really watch the sodium and the sugar content. And then I would just dump that on top of the salad, and that would be my meal, if I wasn't somewhere where I could find something that was appropriate. And then back to the whole mop issue, really great snacks to always have on hand. Macadamia nuts saved me so many times just by having a handful. And then chocolate delight can get you through a rough spot when everyone's indulging in gelato. That was what I missed was the gelato ice cream, and had a couple pieces of chocolate delight. Also be careful because it melts if it's in the car, and it spills all over the place. It seeps right through whatever it's in, so keep it in the cooler. And remember that one cheat sets you back quite a bit. I spent 1 week after a cheat trying to get back to the original weight that I was at on Friday before I left, only to roll right back into another travel weekend, into the same situation with a cheat, and then another week trying to get back to that original weight from the previous Friday, 2 weeks prior, and then finally got to that previous weight, so I had lost 2 weeks, and then I started my period. And Tom affects everybody differently, but I didn't gain weight, I just stalled for another week, so I lost 3 weeks. What a waste of time. Huge waste of time. Remember that this protocol is for a very short amount of time, and plan it out and be prepared for every situation so that you don't find yourself wishing that you hadn't, and just be glad that you did. So, good luck if you're traveling on P2. Be prepared.